What's up, guys? It's Breakshift. I've got another meme deck, and oh boy, this one is an absolute mess. This is definitely the least viable deck I've shown y'all so far. I would not recommend playing this one because it's not very good, but boy does it make up for that by being really funny when it actually does something. So what are we looking at here? This is a deck built around the Wonky Quartet. Shoutouts to Doug Zeef. So let's give this card a quick read. It is a rank 4 that requires 2 or more level 4 monsters. It's unaffected by other cards' effects, just all the time. And if it's XZ summoned, also once per turn during your standby phase. You attach the top 3 cards of your deck to it as material. Apply the following effect based on the number of monsters attached. If there's 4 or less, you give it to the opponent, and if there's 5 or more, it's going to deal 400 damage for each material, and if you do, destroy all monsters you control. Now, normally when people are using this card, it's to clear out the opponent's board, right? He's unaffected, so it's very difficult to stop him from going off. You just slap him down. You attach some materials, since you're going to be making him usually with 2 level 4 monsters. When you grab off the deck, if you grab anything other than 3 monsters, then you'll be able to give it to the opponent. Then on the opponent's turn, it's very likely that when he attaches from their deck, they'll go up to 5 or more, and then he'll blow up their whole field. He's only unaffected by other cards' effects, so he does destroy himself when he destroys all monsters. So that's the intended use case, but one thing you might notice is he never actually detaches his materials, right? Normally he just blows himself up and then the materials hit the graveyard, but they don't actually detach by any means. So the funny thing you can do is bust out this guy, Left Hand Shark, because an Xyz monster that was summoned using only water monsters as materials, including this card on the field, gains this effect. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects. If you make a Wonky Quartet with a Left Hand Shark, then he can't destroy himself anymore. And once he goes over that threshold of 5 monsters, he's never going to come back to your side of the field. He'll just sit on the opponent's side of the field, repeatedly destroying all of their monsters and burning them. And eventually that will kill them, because he's unaffected, right? They can't stop it. Obviously, though, there is one big problem with that, which is they can just link this card off, right? So the way that we're going to try to get around that is with this guy, Ocean Dragon Lord Kairyu Shin. Because while this guy is on the field with Umi up, each player can only control 1 face-up non-water monster. Wonky Quartet is Earth. So if we give our opponent the Wonky Quartet, and then we summon Kairyu Shin, then they won't really be able to get rid of it very easily at all, because they probably are not playing water monsters, at least not very many of them. And even if they are, they probably don't have like a water link monster, right? So if they summon a water monster, they can't link it off with the Wonky Quartet. He already fills up their non-water monster thing. It's like Rivalry or Gozen, where even if you would be getting rid of him to go into another non-water monster, you're not allowed. So that is the game plan. Make a Wonky Quartet with Left Hand Shark and summon Kairyu Shin. It turns out that that's pretty difficult. This deck is really lacking in consistency. This is something that will be improved pretty significantly when the new Shark support comes out, but that's going to be quite a ways away before it reaches Master Duel. So maybe when that happens, I'll revisit this deck. But until then, this is what we're working with. So let's go over the key cards. Now, you might have noticed Left Hand Shark is level 3. That is a problem because we are trying to make a rank 4. So how do we handle that? Well, there's 2 main ways. First off, if this card is special summoned from the graveyard, it becomes level 4. And you'll notice it can actually do that itself. If you control Right Hand Shark, and he's in the hand or graveyard, you can special summon him. So if we could get him in the grave and Right Hand Shark on the field, he'll come out, he'll turn into level 4. That's our Wonky Quartet. Now we just need to get Kairyu Shin. And the other way that we can do it is, remember, Kairyu Shin wants us to have an Umi. He also actually adds a card that is Umi or one of these other cards. This is the Umi of choice for us, Magellanica, the Deep Sea City. This card does a variety of things. The most relevant thing for us, though, is once per turn you can target a water monster you control and increase its level by 1 or 2. So we can use this to level up our left-hand shark from a 3 to a 4. It also has this effect where when you activate it, you can put a water monster on top of your deck. That's kind of neat. We're actually playing Upstart Goblin, so if we combine these two cards, we can sort of search any water monster from our deck. And the Upstart Goblins are just nice in general for a deck like this that is already struggling with consistency. The last effect it has is that if you Synchro Summon, you get to look at the opponent's hand and banish a card until the end phase. That's not super relevant. We can actually Synchro Summon, but they'll probably have hand trapped you before that point if they have a relevant hand trap, and if they don't have a relevant hand trap, you're not really doing anything with this effect because they just get the card back before their turn anyway. But that's our Umi. So in order to get the left-hand shark into the graveyard, we're playing a handful of water monsters that discard stuff. So we've got White Stingray, the special summons itself by discarding a water monster. We've got Fishborg Harpooner, which is very similar. You reveal himself and a water, special summon one and discard the other. And we've also got Ice Jade Ran Agerine, which discards an Ice Jade or a water, special summons itself plus a level 3 token. This is how we're going to Synchro Summon. She's a tuner. And we also have Foolish Burial. So these are all the ways we're trying to get left-hand shark into the graveyard. We can also get it to our hand in order to discard with one of these things if we normal summon right-hand shark, because when he's normal summoned, you just get to add left-hand. So also if we have Magellanica at that point, remember, he can also special summon himself from the hand. So you could go like normal summon right hand, add left hand, special summon him, boost him with Magellanica. That's an option. We're playing a handful of revival spells here. We've got Spellcard Monster Reborn, OG Monster Reborn, and White Mirror. Just 3 different ones because, obviously this one's limited and these 2 are once per turn. We don't want to draw multiples and brick on them. We also need to have ways to get out Kyriushin. Fishborg Harpooner can get him out, but the other way we're going to do that is with Electric Jellyfish. This card can send Umi from the hand, deck, or field of the graveyard to special summon any water from hand, and then it also has a negate of a monster or spell card while Umi's on the field. And that card, as well as Kyriushin, those are searchable by Fish Sonar. The last cards we've got is just 1 copy of Ice Jade Cradle to have an additional way to get to Ran Agerine, and we've got Sea Stealth Attack as the alternate search target with Kyriushin. When you activate this card, you get to activate Umi from the graveyard, so if we went Jellyfish, Dump, Magellanica, and then on the opponent's turn we can flip up Sea Stealth, get Magellanica out, and make the Floodgate effect of Kyriushin live. That's if we don't need Magellanica on the field in order to have the level boosting effect. Otherwise, you just add another copy of Magellanica. In the extra deck, we've got... we do actually have Fishborg Harpooner as a tuner, so we have a couple level 8s. I literally never made these. I don't think that they're particularly important, but just in case they're there, we've got a couple level 10 waters to make off of Ran Agerine. Normally, it's going to be this card, Jameer Agerine. This card's pretty strong. We've got a few rank 4s, but most of these don't really matter. Theoretically, you can stall with Crooked Cook with the Sharks, right? Like, you give the opponent the Wonky Quartet, and then you toss up a Crooked Cook. Maybe they can't out this guy if he's got Sharks as material. You might remember back in the day when people were using this to, like, draw Exodia. Less good these days because we've got stuff like the White Forest cards where they can deal double piercing and stuff like that. We got Stealth Kraken. This actually might come up every now and then, where if you can't get out Kyriushin, maybe you can make 2 rank 4s. Stealth Kraken could theoretically like pop the first card they summon to try and use to link off with the Wonky Quartet. And the floodgating effect of turning stuff into water monsters can actually be relevant. So This card's kind of important. And then we just have some other generic stuff. We've got Master Boy in case we need to link a card off, right? Like if we want to summon the left-hand shark from hand, link it off, bring it back from grave. We can't use Coral Anemone because she locks you into water, and remember, Wonky Quartet is earth. But that's the deck. We've got quite a few replays here, actually. This was all like in gold because I don't really think this deck could hack it in platinum. But let's take a look and see what kind of stuff we got. So first duel here, we're going second, which obviously is not ideal. This deck does not have a very good time going second. Even if you go first and you set up like the perfect field, they can always just like, you know, Diabell Star, send off your Wonky or something, right? There's so many ways to handle it. But our opponent's playing like a dice roll deck, so probably don't need to be too worried about that. He's just going to set pass. This is the kind of power level that we can contend with. So our hand here is quite good. We've got Jellyfish to summon out the Kyriushin. Kyriushin can add C stealth attack because we don't really need to worry about the level manipulation right now. Foolish Burial just sends left hand right to the grave. We can get out the Ran Agerine, do a Synchro Summon. This is like almost perfect, right? We've got the Kyriushin. We're going to have a negate with the Jellyfish. We've got the Ran Agerine. Bring back the right-hand shark here, summon out the left-hand shark. This can make Wonky. And even if you do have like a perfect hand like this, it's still a bit of a gamble. If we just grab all monsters, he'd add 5 materials, or 5 monster materials, that is, and then he won't go to the opponent's side, and you'll be burning yourself. Plus, if the opponent grabs like all spells, then he can come back. So anyway, I didn't attack there because I was afraid of Dice Jar, but it turns out it's just Cuban. Doesn't really matter, though. The Wonky Quartet will just be wiping his field anyway. Upstart Goblin giving them 1,000 life points doesn't actually matter. The way the math works out in terms of the damage that Wonky Quartet deals, you can see here, the extra 1,000 doesn't make the difference. He'd still be alive at 400. But anyway, he can't handle the Wonky, and we defeat him. Not a very strong deck that we beat, but that just kind of showcases, like, in the best case scenario, what this deck might do. You could imagine a good deck would struggle potentially in this kind of situation. But, you know, it takes quite a while sometimes to farm replays with these sorts of decks. So you might have noticed as well, this one's actually a loss, but I thought it was really funny, so we'll take a peek anyway. Once again, we are going second. We're going to fast forward a little bit here. The opponent is on Exodia. We did max see them, but this deck doesn't actually need to special summon very much. So he's just going to go straight for the Ankh. Drew 2 pieces, unfortunate for him. And there we go, he's going to set Fires of Rage. So we need to be able to bait that out before we make our main plays. I go for Ran Agerine here because this immediately threatens it. I can just go into Jameer Agerine, who protects my entire field. So he didn't use it beforehand, so now we're safe. He tries to use Heart of the Blue Eyes. I'm just going to chain Ymir Agerine. I could call by it, but it's not actually particularly important that Ymir Agerine sticks. He has Obliterate anyway, so he's just going to bounce her. But her effect will go off, and I am protected now. So now we can bring out the right-hand shark, add left-hand shark, summon itself out from the graveyard. It's going to turn level 4. Here he decides to use Fires of Rage, but because we normal summon the right-hand shark, now he's going to wipe our whole field. If we didn't have the Jameer Agerine, we actually would have been able to summon the right-hand shark out of the graveyard and keep going from there. But anyway, we didn't need to do that this time around because we drew the Synchro starter. Just going to hand him the Wonky. And this guy has protection, but it only can't be destroyed by an opponent's card effect, so Wonky can kill it. He tries to bounce it with Obliterate, but it is unaffected, so that's not going to work. And we accidentally drew an insufficient number of monsters, so he's going to come back over to our side. Unfortunate. Exod would have destroyed the called by there anyway, so we fire it off, he negates it, whatever, it doesn't really matter. At this point, it's like we need to get lucky with the attaches. You can see there's 4 monsters on here, so if we attach one monster, it's going to be stuck on our side of the field, but if we attach all spells or traps, we could still give it back to him, potentially. Not very likely, but it could happen. He's going to go with another Ankh, so he's going to have double Exodia Incarnate here. And he also has the Piercing from that spell card, but only this one gets Piercing, so we do survive. He sets yet another Exod Fires of Rage, all 3 copies now, and he's got multiple Obliterates too, apparently. This guy's deck is crazy. So back to us, let's see what Wonky attaches. He tries to Obliterate. I don't know why he targeted his own thing here. I guess he realized that the Wonky's unaffected and he just wants to dump something. I'm honestly not sure what's going on here. But he'll add the right arm. Obliterate's going to resolve and put back one of his Exodias. And what do you know? We only attached spells there, so hand him back the Wonky. It's got 11 materials at this point. When it does start burning, it's going to deal a lot. Here we get to do that play I was talking about earlier. When you normal the right hand, he wipes the field. Just bring it right back, man, like it never even happened. Crystal Shark going to let us make a rank 4 here. So I go for Cook. I'm hoping that I can wall up here. It can't be destroyed by battle, and it's unaffected currently. So he does have another Obliterate Blaze to deal Piercing, but if Wonky destroys his Exodia Incarnate, then I don't have to deal with that at all. But lo and behold, actually, he just drew all the pieces of Exodia, and we get Exodia'd. If he hadn't drawn them all, I think I might have been able to win there. I suppose it's possible that the Wonky would have attached all spells again and then come back to our side, and then we were definitely screwed. But, you know, with slightly better RNG, we could have won there. I don't know, I thought that was a pretty funny duel. You know, with these kind of decks, I feel like sometimes there's an inverse relationship to the power of the deck and the comedy of the deck. Because, I mean, this deck is terrible, but it is very funny, even when you're losing. Anyway, we're finally going first this time. The hand is tolerable. Get to add the left hand, discard him, bring him back. He's level 4. That's Wonky. But we don't have access to Kyriushin. So, in theory, it's not too difficult for him to get rid of this, but we are in gold. A lot of people are on mediocre decks. He might not be playing Link Monsters. I don't know. Right? We're just going for it. We're just trying to get away with it if we can. He attaches Ecclesia and Mage Power, and it turns out he's on some kind of crazy stun beatdown deck. So we've got the world's largest Fossil Dyna here. Guess I should have put my White Stingray in D mode. But it turns out that, yeah, he actually can't get rid of the Wonky Quartet. You know, even if he has the correct stuff in the extra deck, the Fossil Dyna is going to prevent it. I don't really need to do anything here because Wonky's just going to blow his guy up. 4,400 damage there. And he didn't draw another monster. He's probably on a pretty slim monster count. So, back to us. Can't really make any plays here. We're just going to pass. And Wonky blows up 5,600. There you go. Fantastic duel, right? Oh, jeez. Always happy to beat Stun, though. I know we're playing a Floodgate deck, I know, but ours is a funny Floodgate deck. Okay, it's different, alright? It's okay when I do it. Okay. Second to last duel here. This one is against a guy on Malefics. Going second again. We did draw Max C, though, so that's not too bad. The opponent just going to make a simple play here, summon out Malefic, Cyber End, and pass turn. Doesn't want to give us too many draws. Our hand is not particularly great. He's going to Ash the Cradle, which is totally fine. We already have Agerine. So very much down with that. I'd much rather this get ashed than my Fish Sonar. So we can get away with the Fish Sonar now. Grab Kyryushin. Foolish, going to dump our right-hand Shark. And we're actually just going to tribute out the Kyryushin here. Go ahead and add Sea Stealth, because we already have access to Umi. Can't make Wonky Quartet here, but this is still like a pretty decent board, right? The Floodgate effect of Kyryushin is always nice, and Jameer Agerine makes him that much harder to out, right? Like, she's able to protect him, Sea Stealth's able to protect him. Here's the funniest part of this duel. If y'all haven't read this card before, during your draw phase, instead of conducting your normal draw, you can reveal 3 Malefics, your opponent randomly adds 1, and you shuffle the rest back. So this effect activates because of the colon, right? I can change Jameer Agerine, and if you use her in response to another effect, it gets banished. So she banishes the field spell, and apparently that means that he just doesn't draw at all. It just skips his draw phase. Oh man, Malefics. That's just sad. We just destroy him with the Sea Stealth attack. He tries to Raigeki, but Agerine protects us. And it's over. Poor guy, dude. I felt kind of bad about that one. Just skipping his draw phase. That's dirty. Oh, okay. I think I said that was the second to last. I actually do still have 2 more replays. I got a lot of replays with this deck, man. I played this deck for several hours, and this is almost every win I got that wasn't just like the opponent messed up their combo and scooped or something like that. Not a great deck, but I was having a good time. Here we've got right hand summon left hand, can discard it. So this time we've got the multiple rank 4 play instead of Kyryushin. So we're going to go for the Kragan line here that I mentioned earlier. Go ahead and pass him over there. Crystal Shark. Make ourselves a Kragan. And then we've got Maxi called by, so like this might actually be enough. But lo and behold, on his turn, we attach all spells because he's playing Sky Striker. So it actually would have messed him up to leave the Wonky on his side of the field, just have something in the main monster zone. But unfortunately for us, not going to happen. We get to float with the Kragan here. He's going to Droplets. Just filling up the graveyard with spells. He's already at 3. Wiping out our board. There goes the called by. Kragan spawn. Gonna float back into the regular Kragan. He Widow Anchors here. I don't know why. I'm honestly really not sure. Obviously, this is negated. He just goes into a Typhon. And if anyone's played this card, you know when you summon this guy, you just lose the duel. We pop it with Stealth Kragan, it's over. Yeah, man, Typhon sucks. I hate that card. I'll put it in my decks, but I won't be happy about it. Alright. Last one. This one is against Hero. We're going first this time, and we actually draw a really good hand. This is like exactly the kind of thing you want to see. He's going to max C us. Nothing we can really do about that. We're just going to play into it. Got to add the Magellanica here because we will need the level manipulation effect. Go ahead and boost him up, and we'll just use him with the Electric Jellyfish. It hurts to lose that negate, but, you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. I actually make a mistake here, because I only had the left-hand Shark, which prevents the card from being destroyed by card effects. Right-hand Shark prevents it from being destroyed by battle. So, I should have put Kyryushin in defense position so that he can't just turn this to attack and crash. So definitely an error there. He sees the solution. He goes ahead and destroys the Wonky. But it does bring him down to 28. And of course he is still under the Kyryushin effect. Now, funny enough, he actually does have a water monster here. The Liquid Soldier. But because, like I mentioned, because it works like Rivalry or Gozen, he's not able to use these guys to go into a non-link or a non-water link monster. The Prisma is already making up his only allowed non-water, and pretty much he just can't escape from the Kyriushin floodgate. So this ends up being too much for him to handle. Just wanted to showcase that whole interaction with the Wonky Quartet and crashing it, or how I could have dealt with that, even though I kind of screwed it up. It doesn't really matter. He can't beat the Kyriushin effect. Anyway, that's all I've got for y'all. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and I will be back with some more decks later. Catch y'all then.